Hey, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Ruach HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace, love, salutations, and blessings to the house of David, which is the elect. And in this lesson, right, I wanted to go into a few pieces of information, all right, that has been, that has came out, as of the last couple of days. And as the title, reads, the quiet part out loud, all right, or they are saying the quiet part out loud. And, as we continue to see the unraveling of Edom's kingdom, right, and, them, scrambling, trying to, get this NWO up and running, because as the scripture says, they know they have but a short time. These witches, these magi's, these sorcerers, right? Because that's what Esau is, right? Going back to the serpent in the garden, right? Being a enchanter, okay? They're running out of time, all right? And based off of things you see in the media and how they're moving, and which I'm going to get a little bit of certain things that these politicians have said, but you see them now becoming more and more overt with their agenda. Okay, and as you see here, this is a breaking tweet which Elon Musk said. I believe he said this yesterday, which was, no, Salakia. He might have said this 2 days ago, January 16th. Today is the 18th. But he says Elon Musk is breaking the internet after revealing politicians are just the actors on the stage. You don't see the script writers, directors, and producers who control them. The veil is opening. So that's what this person said, that last part. The veil is opening. And as you see here, is the actual tweet where he says, where Elon Musk says this. Now, him saying this and we knowing that, the technocrats, all right, are the ones that are, being brought to the forefront as being the ones that are in control of, the system, right? The ones that are pulling the strings, okay, the ones that are, and they really are working for the central banking elite families, right? Which we always speak about. Okay, your hidden hand, right? The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Oppenheimers, the Gettys, the Bilderbergs, the DuPonts. Okay, those individuals, right? Which, as the scripture says, are the rulers of the darkness of this world. Okay, but then they have their, they have their people that are directly underneath them, which would be your technocrats. Okay, your Peter Thiel and your Jeff Bezos. All right, your Elon Musks, right? Larry Ellison. Who else? Your and of course you got your Klaus Schwab, and the rabbit hole goes deep. Okay, and this is why you had Elon Musk, so prevalent when Trump got into office, right? Why Elon Musk said that if it wasn't for him, Trump wouldn't have even been elected. You see, you had Pete Hegseth, at Elon Musk's SpaceX recently, right? And where Elon Musk was speaking about them using this whole, SpaceX and those rocket ships to ultimately be able to make Star Trek come to life. All right, they're trying to, leave the Earth and go and colonize and live on different planets, right? Which once again is a vain imagination of these devils. But nonetheless, the fact that you had Elon Musk say this, right? Which this is something that we've always knew. Okay, remember the the scriptures foretells of the secret counsels of the wicked, right? Let's pull that up real quick in the book of Psalms 64, verse 2. It says, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. Okay, so there is a secret counsel of the wicked, right? The ones that have control over the earth, as Klaus Schwab will call it, the stakeholders of the world, right? That ultimately, which they, you got the Davos meeting starting tomorrow, January 19th. And I believe Trump, they said that this the delegation that is going with Trump to there, the U.S. delegation is going to be the biggest ever. Okay, so we know that when they have those meetings, they have things that they bring to the public, but the real things that they're speaking about and the operations that they're implementing in the world, those things are done behind closed doors, right? Those things aren't so much spoken in public, but we are also getting, because I believe the theme of this one in Davos is the spirit of dialogue. Okay, which is, our spirit just made me remember that, and that actually ties into this lesson because they are now saying the quiet part out loud. So they are having this dialogue, right, that used to be spoken in secret, right, would be spoken behind closed doors or in code. But because they have a short time, because they're moving, they have to move, vehemently. Okay. They're now having this dialogue in the public view. They're telling the people exactly what they, are doing. Okay. And the people are not going to have, a say in whether or not it is done. Okay, there's another post that I have. This is Lindsey Graham, right? He says this to the Arab world. So let's listen.
Arab world. I've tried to be very hopeful to build on the Abraham Accords. But this idea of saying one thing behind closed doors and something else in public is coming to an end. So I've called.
Now, okay, you hear what he just said. This idea of saying one thing behind closed doors and another thing in public is coming to an end. All right, because, that is how Esau used to operate. And that is how he also, operated with the kings of the earth. All right. Remember, it's not just Esau that, had these councils. Now they're at the top, right? They're the spearhead, but you have these other nations that are, down with the beast. They're down with the devil. Okay, as it says in Revelation, the 18th chapter, those that lived deliciously with him. You see, but we're at a time now where Esau doesn't want to, put on a front of, making himself appear, right, that he is benevolent, right, that he is harmless, that he has good intentions. He's past that. All right. He's past the point of pretending. All right. Now, this is why they're speaking about, strength. All right. And peace through strength. Okay. Speaking about upgrading, making their military more lethal. Right. Lethality. Right. That's a common, verbiage that the Department of War, right, is speaking, because they're not, hiding it anymore, right? They're not playing this game of, we are good guys, right? Now they could try to say that they're good guys, right? But they're not trying to convince people that they are harmless. They're just saying, you know what? We got the power, we got the might, we got the strength, and we're gonna do what we want to do. And whoever gets in our way, whether it be you at the Arab country, right? This is what Lindsey Graham is saying. Whether it be you Israelites, okay, and speaking about you Jakes as a nation, whether it be even Edomites of your own allies, right? The whole thing that's going down with Greenland, okay, Esau, especially here in Babylon, the Lord got a spirit on them to be very, very, as it says in Revelation, the 12th chapter, wrathful. Because why? Because they know that they have but a short time. See? So Elon Musk saying this, all right, going back to that, Elon Musk saying this is not proof, something that we didn't already know, but it's proof that they are, unveiling, right? As it says, the veil is opening. They are pulling back the curtains and telling you, right, that the people that you vote for, that you think are the ones that are making the decisions, okay, the ones that are the end all that has the last final say. No, they're just actors. And when you look at Trump, you can very easily tell that he is not in control, and especially with Biden. Biden definitely wasn't in control. All right, even Trump speaks about the auto pin. Okay, but Trump, you can tell he's not ones making these policies. He asks questions. He's over here like, oh, can I do this, or can this happen, or I don't know if I gotta follow the Constitution. Oh, I'm the chosen one. So he makes all of these. He's a spokesman, right? He's a spokesman and he's an entertainer. Literally, he was on WWE acting, right? He was on The Apprentice, right? He had his TV show The Apprentice. He's an actor. He's just an actor on the stage. And he says you don't see the script writers, the directors, the producers who control them. Okay? They're being controlled ultimately, right, by the central banking elite families. But the central banking elite families are, pushing forward with this technocracy, using these individuals, right, coupling them with these technocrats to push forward the agenda of this digitalization of humanity and merging, right, a man with machine, so that they can have complete control over humanity via, technology, right, via the micro C-hip, which all of these things, right, that is what this all is really leading to. Okay, here, this is back in 2019, you had Klaus Schwab say that the world will no longer be run by superpowers like America. It will be run by the World Economic Forum stakeholders, such as BlackRock and Bill Gates. So let's listen to this. Now, I can say this is back in 2019, before, before 2020, right, and before what he deemed the great reset happening.
Who will really command the force in this revolution and its technology like artificial intelligence?
What's your sense of who's best placed at this time to lead the world into the fourth industrial revolution? Because you pretty much created this term. We're seeing the kind of technological strides that China has made with Huawei, with the 5G technology. Do you believe that this could potentially be China's time once again?
We should make here again let's say a differentiation. On the one hand, we have state capitalism. On the other hand, we have shareholder or private capitalism. So it's a clash between two systems. I believe that state capitalism in the short term provides certain advantages because you can mobilize in a concentrated way a lot of resources to reach a specific objective. But I believe that the future is not state capitalism or shareholder capitalism.
Now listen to that. Right? The future isn't state capitalism, meaning what? That the countries aren't going to be the ones, and this is, their vain opinion, right? Vain imagination, but that the countries aren't going to be the ones that have control, right? And like America government isn't going to have control, right? Isn't going to govern America, right? And Canada's government isn't going to govern the Canadians. So he's saying state capitalism is only short term, and this ties into the whole one world order, right, or one world system, because you can't in this one world system, which will be all tied via the technology. You can't have various different countries doing their own thing. Remember, the scripture says He causeth all, so you can't have all different countries, doing their own thing. They want to have everybody under this one system, right? Just like what Antiochus tried to do, all right, where he wrote that decree to have all, let me just pull it up, right, to have all of the heathen, right, leave their law and join unto him, right? First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone shall leave his laws, right? Their sovereign laws that they had in their lands. They should leave that and should be all one people. Okay. When you look on the back of the dollar bill, it says what? E pluribus nuum, right? I always get that one confused. No, thing is novos. Let me pull it up. I always get the two confused. But one of them, it says out of many one. Okay. Let's see, is it this one? E pluribus annum. Yep. E pluribus annum is a Latin phrase meaning out of many one. See, out of many one. So everybody should leave their own laws, that all should be one people, out of many one, and everyone should leave his own laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. See that? Yeah, many also of the Israelites consented. And you're going to have many Israelites consent now. But as it says in 2nd Ezra 16th chapter, that they that consent unto them should be had in derision and trodden underfoot. Because you got Israelites that think that, if they get down with Esau, right, and they get down with the system, then they're going to escape the overflowing scourge. They're going to, make a covenant with death, all right, to try to escape the wrath, all right, that is going to come by not being, which they think, right, trying to escape the suffering of being kicked out of the system. But as it says in 2nd Ezra 16th chapter, that you're going to be trodden underfoot and had in reproach. You see? So it says, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbaths. Okay? So this is an agenda that these devils have had for many, 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 many generations. Okay? And it really goes back to them trying to be or get the blessing of Jacob, because as we know, when Yahushua returns and sets up the kingdom, pursuant to Isaiah the 2nd chapter, that all nations are going to flow unto us and learn of our ways, right, and learn and follow our laws. See?
The future is what I call stakeholder capitalism, which is combined with the social responsibility.
Still, so the future is stakeholder capitalism. And there was a clip of Klaus Schwab before he retired, quote unquote, from the WEF. He was doing a speech and he said that the people in that room were the stakeholders of the world. Okay. They were the stakeholders of the world, meaning that they're the ones that had the power to control how the world moved. And this is why you have these nations and these kings, these rulers of these nations go to Davos every year, okay, and have this meeting, right, in the highest city in Europe, all right, a high point, where once again, Trump, right, is going to be there. You see? And not only Trump, you want to have Arab kings and rulers, Elam, right, Ham, all right, Japhet. You have all of these nations there. You see? But these are all a vain. Why do the people rage and why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? It's a vain concept. It's a vain imagination that they think that they're going to be able to pull this off. But the point of all of that is to say that they are now coming and saying the quiet part out loud because they know that their time is short. So get in the scripture here and we'll close it out. In the book of Isaiah 47, verse 12, it says, "Stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be thou shalt be able to profit, if so be thou mayest prevail." All right, because that's all this devil knows how to do, right? It is to be an enchanter, is to be a sorcerer. As I said before about the serpent, and as the Lord said, he was a more subtle beast than all of the subtle creature than all of the beasts that the Lord created, right? Which when you go into that word serpent, we always say nakash, which means a enchanter, right? Somebody that practiced divination. So he was a warlock. He was a witch. And Esau, that's the only moves that he knows how to make. Okay. He can't do righteousness. Let favor be shown unto the wicked, yet he shall not learn righteousness. Verse 13, it says, "Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsel." It says, "All the advice you have received has made you tired." Okay. See, the trying to give, misdirection and trying to, make yourself appear as being, a good guy and benevolent and, making people like you and all these things. That's getting wearied because now you've been exposed, right? As it says in 2 Thessalonians, the spirit of the Lord's mouth has revealed you. And when you reveal a serpent, right? If a serpent, their part of their ability to catch prey is to use the ability to hide themselves. Okay, they are not, they have to. They're talking about an actual snake. They need the ability to be quiet and be sneaky, right? And to, use whatever mechanisms, whatever their surroundings that they have to hide themselves so that they could be hid long enough to get into striking distance. And once they're in striking distance, that's when they reveal themselves and then they're strike. But if they get revealed before they're in striking distance, then they wouldn't be able to catch their prey. But what happens, that's why you have that whole saying, cut your grass and then the snakes will show. Well, the prophets are the spiritual lawnmowers. Okay. The prophets of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, the spiritual lawnmowers. So we have cut the grass, we've made it short. So now this devil can't hide himself. But he still wants to attack. So now, instead of being sneaky, right, he's just, hey, you know what? I'm a serpent. and I'm about to just attack you. And this is the trap, right? Because they're trying to, if you get caught in the trap and the snake is there, then he gonna bite you eventually because you can't move. And this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to trap people so that when they get ready to, when they strike you, then you won't have any other option but to end up getting bit. All right. But see, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, the elect, we are not going to fall into a trap. So this devil won't be able to, strike us. He won't be able to attack us. You see, but they're at the point once again that they're no longer hiding it, right? They're no longer, saying, speaking in code and secret. They're saying the quiet part out loud because they are in striking distance and they are about to strike. So, I'm going to close it out with that, Lord willing. This was edifying unto the elect, giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Shalom.